There's a lot going on. I'm sure you get stopped in the corridor saying, what will Trump do? What does it mean for the economy? What do you answer?
Well, what we know so far is that the animal spirits have been unleashed. Right? So people are looking at ways that they can invest around the themes that they think the U.S. is migrating towards. No surprise in his early actions so far, but the big questions on the economy are where are we going to come out on tariffs, and where are we going to come out in terms of the engagement between the U.S. and China, and what's that mean for the rest of the world? And those questions are still looming.
How do you see U.S.-China playing out actually for the banks, especially as we're expecting this wave of deregulation in the U.S.?
Look, I live in hope, and the hope in which I live is that there can be an entente. I don't think we're going to see some sort of a big rapprochement between the U.S. and China, but I think there can be an understanding about how we can cooperate together to get some really important things done in the world. There's some really obvious ones like climate change, which is unlikely to be the natural point of engagement between the Trump administration and China. But the system for global trade is a second, and we all know the world in aggregate is better off if we have free and fair trade. But we also know that people have been left behind, and Trump's been very, very straightforward in his determination to change the rules. We'll see.
But when you hear Donald Trump actually say tariffs is his favorite word in the English dictionary, do you believe him at face value, or is everything a negotiating tactic and a starting point?
Well, I think ultimately everything is a negotiating tactic kind of for everyone when you're trying to change the status quo. And how deep is his conviction, and how much does he really believe things need to change, and how much can things change? I mean, there's a limit to how much flex either side has in a negotiation. It really is an open question. And I think the market is as unclear on that question as it's ever been.
Okay, how does it change how you want to run the bank?
So we run the bank for our clients, right, just as a practical matter. And our clients have been diversifying their supply chains for the past 8 years. So obviously there was the first round of Trump, although the tensions between China and the U.S. have been going on from before then, and we know they carried on with Biden very, very strongly. So we've diversified supply chains. COVID actually threw a different spanner in the works in terms of security of supply. But we've also got many countries around the world who have developed outstanding manufacturing bases of their own. You think about a place like Vietnam or increasingly India. So that's been ongoing, and our job is to help them get from where they are to where they're going in a seamless and effective way. And I'd say so far that's going well.
So do you want to increase your presence in the U.S., be there for your clients?
No, we've got a good presence in the U.S. We've got a very good presence with our corporate clients and financial institutions in the U.S., most of whom are operating back in Asia, Middle East, and Africa, which are our home markets. But it's a big market in the U.S. and lots of opportunity for us to engage on terms that make sense for us and for them.
Your share price, it's going in the right direction, the direction you want it.
Yes.
Is this a landmark point?
I don't know. I think we've got a lot further to go. I mean, our share price has gone up because we're making more money, and our earnings are improving. And our earnings are improving because we've got some really good strategic positioning. Everything is cross-border, especially if there's an Asia, Middle East, Africa anchor, and then serving the affluent and the aspiring affluent. And this is kind of what's a little bit different about our private banking and affluent banking effort is that if you go into India or even into Korea or Indonesia, we've got people who say, like, I'm not really rich yet, but I want to be rich, and I want to find a way to manage my money so that I can grow and become wealthy and retire comfortably and leave something to my children. And those are the people that are attracted to Standard Chartered. And we're on top of that one. It's going well.
So how much do you think your share price can rise by?
Yeah, I wish I could answer that question. We're trading below book value. We're still trading below book value, which doesn't make any sense to me given the returns that we're generating. But hey,
Okay, so what's the winter's target? You must have a target. This was like you reached where you wanted it to be so far. What's next?
We have a 30% return on tangible. Approaching 30% is the actual guidance that we give in 2026. We'll announce our full-year earnings in a few weeks, and you've seen the U.S. banks have reported they've been very strong. We're participating in the same markets. So I feel very good about our prospects, and I see that playing out for some time. And I think if we make more money and if we do a good job for our shareholders, our share price will go up.
Okay, do you have new targets that you'll announce?
We will announce new targets when we announce new targets. But no, as you know, Francine, no doubt I'll be in your studio in London.
Okay, it's a deal.
Talking about that in February.
Okay, talk to me a bit about your Fit for Growth strategy, right? Yeah. Again, are you there? Are you going to do more? Like, is this mission accomplished for Bill Winters, or are you like 75% there?
No, it's never mission accomplished. No, so Fit for Growth is So I've been in Standard Chartered for 10 years now. For the first 7 years, our expenses were basically $10 billion, flat. We had a pickup around inflation, and because performance was improving, we told the market we're going to cap our expenses in 2026 at $12 billion, right? And that's going to require us to do some ongoing productivity, which we do every year in any case. Fit for Growth is a great opportunity to be a little bit more strategic about it and really change the way we do business. So far, so good.
Okay, what's one thing that you worry about in this year, actually in the next 12 months?
I worry about all sorts of things. I worry about the U.S. economy overheating and getting an inflationary thrust, which drags everything back. We all know that a higher U.S. interest rates and a strong U.S. economy mean also a stronger dollar, which is tough for emerging markets. So we were seeing the beginnings of meaningful capital inflow back into emerging markets. That's pulled back now. So I do worry about that U.S. economy overheating. Of course, the geopolitical tensions are always with us. But I think for the moment, it's maybe because we're in Davos, we can be hopeful that there's the prospect of peace in the Middle East, right? We can imagine the prospect for peace in Europe, but that would require an entente between the U.S. and China that could also happen. So while we're fantasizing, let's. Yeah.
But it just feels like it could be a very volatile year on all fronts,
I think
especially
it's likely
markets.
to be a very volatile year. I think that the economy is going through a transition. The U.S. is clearly at full employment, but still with a very large budget deficit. So we'll see volatility in interest rates. We'll see volatility therefore in foreign exchange rates.
Yeah. Is that good for banks? Is that good for some trades?
It's very good for us. And it's good for us up until the point where it really hurts our clients. Once the clients are feeling pain, of course, then we feel some pain as well. And the volatility so far has been okay. I think a secular increase in U.S. interest rates or a failure to decrease would begin to really hurt clients in the U.S. and in the rest of the world.
A lot of banks are thinking about succession. How do you think about that?
I think about it all the time, and thankfully I've got a really good group of direct reports. Running our corporate bank, running our retail bank. We have a CFO that joined us a year ago, and any of those people could run Standard Chartered. So if I fall off that edge tomorrow, the Standard Chartered will be fine. We also go through the ordinary course of chairman succession, and our chairman he joined just after me, so he will hit his 9-year point over the course of this year. Thankfully, we've got a deep bench on the board. We've got a deep bench in management. So, but it's the job of the chairman and the CEO to make sure that succession is provided for. I think we've done a pretty good job.